Alright, thanks everyone. So I'm going to give just a quick update on what the Federation is doing currently and in the last year. Up on the screen now is our current board of directors. Jamie Huffman is our president, and I know many of you know Dr. Deborah Persinger, who is our executive director. So let's begin with the Model Practice Act. We have 9 representatives from state licensing boards that have been working for a couple of years on developing the Model Practice Act. They're assisted by Sally Sally, who's our government relations director, as well as our legal counsel works on this project. We expect to launch a draft of public comment early in 2014 and hope that ultimately this will be another step towards uniformity of licensure standards. Next, onto the massage therapy licensing database. The member boards and agencies have requested a national licensing database. So we have established a database task force that have been working for several months. They're working on designing a database that meets the needs of the regulatory community. Among other things, this will include tracking disciplinary actions in case a candidate or massage therapist moves between states. So the job task analysis was done in 2013. Last year, we undertook the second JTA that investigated entry-level practice and received thousands of responses from the profession that helped determine the content of the massage and bodywork licensing exam. We also published an additional survey at the same time to investigate components of entry-level education as part of the eLab project. We work with a wonderful group of talented volunteers to develop the MBLEX. As you can see from the list of subject matter experts, both Sue Vivek and Cherie, I lost Cherie, are part of these volunteers. And we're very, very grateful for all of their help. We're always looking for item writers. If anyone's interested, a lot of our subject matter experts and item writers are educators. So if you're interested, please stop by our table next door and we'll be happy to talk to you more about that. On the screen now are the main content domains for the MBLEX. The numbers in red indicate the changes that will be occurring to the MBLEX administration beginning July of 2014 as a result from the feedback of the recent JTAs. Primarily, you'll see increase in the need to address ethics and professional practice issues that also correspond with our license renewal project that I'll talk about in just one moment. The MBLEX remains the sole examination recommended for licensure by the professional membership organization, the Alliance, thank you Alliance, and of course the Federation. This is also in line to achieve uniformity of licensure standards and professional mobility. As you can see, the MBLEX is accepted throughout the country. The states in blue all accept the MBLEX, and the colorless states, or the white ones, are at this point do not accept the MBLEX, but some of these, or many of these, are not regulated at this time. So now on to license renewal topic, or often referred to as CEs. Member boards ask the Federation for help regarding a way to assure that licensed massage therapists continue to be confident when renewing their license. Massage therapists wanted a way to renew their license that doesn't overburden them, and regulatory boards want massage therapists to demonstrate competence to protect the public. As you can see on this slide, or I hope you can see on this part, massage therapists spend a higher percent of their income on continuing education compared to the other professions listed up here. So physicians, dentists, PTs, pharmacists are also listed. According to the information on the job task analysis, 95% of massage therapists stated they would still continue to do continuing education, whether it's required for license renewal or not. We introduced a proposal and distributed for public comment. As a result, the Federation is recommending this language for license renewal standards. I'm trying to read this out loud so you can see it. Licensed massage and bodywork therapists will be required to complete 6 hours of license renewal requirements annually. At least 3 of the 6 hours must meet the state-sponsored ethics and professional practice that specifically address content pertaining to public safety. The remaining 3 hours could be exchanged for certain professional development activities, including but not limited to meeting accredited certification standards, community service, and research. The Federation is creating an online education program for license renewal, which will offer low cost and easier access for most people. We have a dedicated IT group working on technology functionality, compatibility, and accessibility. The group pictured here is sitting on our Ethics and Professional Practice Committee. You may recognize some of these fellow educators. Karen Hobson is with us this weekend too, and she's sitting on the EPP committee. This group is helping create online content and the length of the programs. Our goals for the EPP, or the Ethics and Professional Practice, is to produce quality online education to massage therapists with courses that are fair and manageable while meeting the legal needs of the regulatory community with hopes to reduce the amount of disciplinary action. The Ethics and Professional Practice course content will be based on information from our member boards with the information that they want licensed massage therapists to know. Our intent is to begin in 2014. The content will change each year. The member boards were surveyed for suggested topics based on disciplinary action. You can see some of the suggested topics listed here. So boundary violations, many issues that there's been disciplinary action for. The second part of the program, the license renewal program, is the standards program. The Federation will create standards for continuing education and professional development activities. Regulatory boards can use these standards to help decide what should be accepted for license renewal. This is another tool we're offering to our member boards. Pictured in this group is the Professional Development Activity Task Force. And again, I think Emmanuel is here this weekend. He's sitting, there he is, thank you, Emmanuel. This work is well underway. They're given tasks or assignments each week. They send back the information and we're compiling it at that point. The goals for the PDA program is to create a viable tool again for our member boards, assuring that all standards are fair and manageable for the massage community, and assuring that they meet the legal needs of the regulatory community. Any questions? Yes.
I was just wondering on that online education component, is that going to be restricted to licensed massage therapists from member boards, or is it open to anybody?
At this point, it would be open to anyone.
Okay, I want to talk to you.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you. I'm not sure if we're doing questions now, or should we're going to wait until at the end.
So thank you so much. And one of the things that I just want to share that none of you need to have a PowerPoint, and it's not required, so you can just stand up here and kind of give an update of what you're doing. Karen came up to me this morning, she said, I have a PowerPoint. I'm like, you don't need one, and it's okay. But so I'm just letting you all know, right? It's not required, but wasn't expected. All we want you to do is kind of just share what you're doing. So welcome, Sue Toscano.
Thank you for that clarification, Pete. I appreciate that. Holy cow! So we have, the NCBTMB has a presentation that we're giving tomorrow morning from 9 to 11, and that is going to be an opportunity for anyone with a lot of questions about the NCBTMB and our programs, and that would be a time when we're going to delve down into a lot of those things. As you know, a brief update on what we're doing is changing everything. It can be confusing at times, and yet we really feel that my understanding in hearing about this was that we were going to speak a little bit about what we think about the trends that are taking place in the professional massage therapy and our organization's perspective of those. And our perspective of how things are changing really comes to our need to step up and grow into a board that approves certification programs for the profession. I certainly see that as something that is on the horizon with regard to the board certification that we currently have out there. Growing the board certification is vital to creating this advanced credential, and then having that from there go into other types of specialty certificates through the National Certification Board. Whitney's talk yesterday was very inspirational in some of the ideas that can be utilized in putting together ways for individuals to take their basic education and their continuing education and turn that into credentialing in non-traditional ways. And I'd like to see NCBTMB jump on board with putting together some programs that utilize some of those things that Whitney was also talking about. We have licensure examination products. They are on the market. They are currently being used in 38 states and the District of Columbia. We have our board certification, which we are growing little by little. Every day I call up and I say, so how many do we have today? Because we have more and more all the time. And we are always encouraging individuals to check in with us about what you would need to do to become a board-certified massage therapist. And then we have our approved provider continuing education program that we have done some revisions to and we'll be talking a lot about tomorrow. It is unfortunate that at first the APCE program went out with a lot of requirements that we are not going to be working with. And so tomorrow you'll see that the APCE program is revised to a level that is meant to improve the standards of continuing education. All of the changes that we've made obviously are to increase the standards and improve the education and improve the opportunities for credentialing for massage therapists. That's what we're here for. So thank you for your time.
Sue and Donna Sarabella will be having a class tomorrow, and many of you may have questions and would like some more clarity. We would love for you to participate in that. And then also, FSMTB has a booth. We will have some question time, hopefully, at the end, so we have mics here that people can answer. And so I want to introduce my friend Ann Williams. Welcome.
I'm Ann Williams. I'm ABMP's Director of Education. So my focus is always on our education department. We have a 7-person education team. And the focus of our team is to create support and to support students, schools, instructors, and our professional members as it relates to education. Now, our organization, in terms of what we've been facing this year, our big challenge is we changed our database this year. And so we had to move all of our membership to this brand new system. And that was quite a challenge. It was really, none of us had the tools we needed to do our jobs. That transition, even though we were well prepared for it, was quite a struggle. And our organization is just now kind of crawling out and sort of figuring out what the world looks like on the other side of implementing NetForum. So it's a great place to be because we're seeing the light now again. I think that our organization really is focused on supporting its members in very practical ways. We try to create resources that we think will help now. And that approach has definitely been a main focus of our education department. So we're looking at what can we do right now to support instructors. We have an Instructor 101 program where every other month we offer a webinar that's really on a core educational topic. So for example, what exactly are learning objectives and how can they be used effectively for instructional design? What are the different learning paradigms and how might I use that in my massage classroom? We also have a number of resources that we create for students, and we're actually in the process, all of those resources I created when I first came to ABMP about 7 years ago. So my next project is to completely revamp those, and I've been getting really excited about what the student looks like 7 years after the day I started with ABMP, and how we better address that particular student's needs. Because one of the things I think we all know as educators is our learner has changed. And if we don't change to accommodate the new learner, our profession is going to continue to contract. Now, in 2006, there were something like 75,000 massage school graduates a year. Every other year, ABMP calls every single massage program, and we are so persistent. If you're a massage school, you've heard from us, and you probably hate us for this, but we ask you how your enrollment was. We ask you for your numbers. And what we know is that this year, we graduated about 43,000 massage therapy students. So that's a pretty substantial decline. So I think our organization, in combination with other organizations, we're looking at what is happening to our profession and how can we respond in a practical and positive way. We've got a number of big, long-term projects on the horizon. Do we need these projects? We absolutely do. But I think we also have to start looking at what makes our profession attractive to today's potential student. It's a different person. It's a different person than we were attracting 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I think we have to start looking at what can massage give as a career now, and how do we communicate that effectively. So I know that's something we talk about a lot in the lunchroom and in our offices. So in terms of trends, we're doing what we've always done. We're doing our very best to support our members. And we're also playing a very active role in working with all of the other organizations who I'm so happy to call my friends and colleagues, especially my lovely Cynthia, who I have adored working with on ELAB. I think you've seen AMTA and ABMP working really closely and happily together for the first time in the profession's history, and that's only going to be a good thing. And I love all of you. We're here.
Now, Ruth, would you like to go after, or since you were in line, you'd like to go? I mean, I just had it geared up for AMTA after.
AMTA go, but journal and check your text.
You have issues. Okay, now I also just wanted to acknowledge, like, here is the coalition of national massage therapists. Surrounded by us.
Good afternoon. The issues I have are classes and reading, so bear with me. You know, Anne talked a little bit about the trends that schools are facing, and so I don't need to repeat that. But one of the things that we're seeing in general is that consumers are using massage less. And so we're taking a look at that. The other piece of that, though, is that in healthcare, they're using it a little bit more. So just in general massage, we notice that it's down, but in healthcare, we're still seeing that the trend is about the same. So AMTA is actively promoting massage to the public. We have our consumer awareness campaign, you know, our van that you've seen around. So we're actively showing consumers what massage is and what massage can be doing for them. We're proactively pitching massage therapy stories to the media, and people are paying attention. And our research roundups are attracting the attention of consumers as well. So the other thing that we've noticed is in people's personal practices, with the growth of franchises, what we're noticing is that students are using the franchises as a jump off to their career, which we haven't seen so much in the past. So that's changing the marketplace a little bit. We've also seen a change in the number or the continuous growth, I should should say, of the number of massage therapists in healthcare, and that might turn into long-term healthcare jobs for some massage therapists. The other thing we notice is that massage therapists, and maybe you notice this in your neck of the woods, massage therapists in general are not owning private practices like a lot of us have. That's becoming less and less. And in the long run, if you're going to make it in this profession now, you have to change with the changing world. That we've talked about. I mean, it's changing pretty rapidly. So that's the other piece that we're noticing. So I hope that addressed, let me see if I can pull my notes up right. So I want to address, there's been a little hubbub lately about what the AMTA is doing about the Affordable Care Act, and do they even know what it is? So we do. And we've been, we've been actively engaged in these conversations with federal agencies, with congressional offices for, as long as Obamacare has been passed, and about what the impact that the Affordable Care Act has on massage therapists. The thing about AMTA is that we traditionally are very practical and very systematic, and sometimes not always as quick as a profession would like. But we're trying to do this methodically so that in the long run, it really serves our members the best. So you'll be happy to know that just on Wednesday, and you were the first to know, there'll be more media about, formal media put out probably in another week and a half. But the board approved a plan, and we're moving forward with creating a tool that will make the case for massage as an integrated part of healthcare. As we've been talking about, Judith talked about, that the implementation of the ACA in each state might look really different. So this tool that is being created will help the chapters in their states as they go to start advocating for the massage therapist to be a part of the accountable care organizations and the patient-centered medical home. So that's just brand new off the presses. But know that we want what you want. We want our therapists to be working. We want them to be in healthcare. The pacing of the rollout for this just seems a little slow for some of you, and I just hope that you be patient with us. We're happy. There's probably about 3 or 4 board members, 3 board members here, Nate Nordstrom, Cynthia Ribeiro. Monica Love is here as well from the office. And if you have individual questions for us, we're happy to talk to you, a little bit more about this if you guys have questions. Thank you.
And as you well know, the AMTA actually has a booth here at this conference, so you can talk to anyone at the booth. Thank you for supporting the Alliance by purchasing a booth.
Yes.
So now I get to introduce my dear friend Ruth Werner, who's made me my own personal quilt for my wife and I that we look at every day.
Actually, Terry, our Lenore, and I are now talking about doing a team project as a fundraiser for the Alliance for next year. So I can call it a positive response. Thank you, everybody. As Pete said, I am Ruth Werner. I'm the president of the Massage Therapy Foundation, and that is a thing that I say with a great amount of pride, and I will only get to say it for a little while longer. I would love to take this moment to introduce you to our president-elect, Geraldine Cameron. And I'm actually attending this meeting, other than for this little bit here, I'm attending this meeting just as an individual CE provider and citizen. Geraldine is our foundation official representative here. She's at the foundation table and has been doing a tremendous job of informing and educating people about what we do. which, to be brief, is to support and advance the knowledge and practice of massage therapy through the support of scientific research, education, and community service. Yeah. But ultimately what that goes toward is the service of our vision, which is that massage therapy is evidence-informed and accessible to everyone. I love that so much that I'm going to repeat it. Massage therapy is evidence-informed and accessible to everyone. And that can take so many different forms. It's a very broad vision. The trends that I can share with you from the Foundation's perspective are through the filter that's really around research and community service and education about those things. What I will tell you is that we've been working hard at integrating our community service projects with the rest of our activities so that they are, in addition to being service projects to deliver massage to people who would otherwise have no access, they are also data gathering opportunities. And we had an unprecedented number of applications for our community service grants this year. We had 4 grants to give away. We had 82 applications, which is so great. Our educational efforts continue. We did a wonderful conference last April, the International Massage Therapy Research Conference. And many of you who are here were also there, so it's great to see you again so soon. We are now deeply into planning for the next conference. We should be selecting a city within the next month. The next conference will be 3 years from now, so 2016. The other sort of general perspective that I can share with you from the Foundation's point of view is that we are having some success with our goal of helping every massage therapist, not just the people who are already interested in research, but other people who don't know yet how grabbable research results are. And we're really reaching out and helping people to understand that what happens and is published in language that appears to be abstract and far away and unusable makes a difference in whether we can earn a living. And while the Foundation does not get involved in government or policy issues, we are an excellent source of information that can help form opinions and points of view. And we helped with the creation of the Essential Health Benefits document that Janet referred to this morning in Washington State. And we'll be very happy to help anyone else who wants to learn more about how to find research, how to make sense of it, how to use it for your purposes. So please use our resources. And thank you very much to the Alliance for this opportunity. The last thing I'd like to say as a trend that I notice on my own behalf that just kneecaps me is when I see the logos of these 7 organizations all up next to each other on one page. That it takes my breath away how important that is for our profession. So that's
Last but not least, yes, Kate Zalowski. I won't go through your whole name.
Thanks, Kate. It's not my first pet's name. My name is Kate Yvonne Henri Zulaski. I was going for a stage name combined with being married. So the Commission on Massage Therapy Accreditation, or COMTA, is the specialized accrediting agency recognized by the Department of Education to be the specialist for our profession, for massage therapy. We hold that title because of our curriculum competencies and because of our responsibility to reflect what the profession can come to agreement about for core curriculum. So the session this afternoon that there's a breakout for is deeply tied to what COMTA does, but it's also tied to what NACIS does, and Dr. Miranda is going to be there helping me with the session this afternoon. It's also tied to what all of the other accrediting agencies do, even if they don't have curriculum competencies. So in addition to collaborating with this group, COMTA has been trying to collaborate more and more with all accrediting agencies that accredit massage schools. And we have been listening to your feedback for the last several years and now working on our internal processes, our standards, our policies to make accreditation at the programmatic specialized level for massage more reasonable for schools that have already sought accreditation from another agency, so that you don't have to choose to leave the agency you've been with to also then go through the COMTA process for your program. We're looking at the bigger picture of how our role as the specialized accrediting agency helps bring the whole profession forward into where we'd like to be in healthcare. Accreditation is often cited as one of the reasons that massage is not considered a full profession, because we don't have an agreed upon mandatory programmatic accreditation component. So we're listening to that need and trying to adjust to make it attainable for massage schools of all types to have programmatic accreditation with COMTA. And that's really at the heart of what we look at every day. We have lots of other things going on too. We're developing a new database as well. We're working on a new website. We're working on some improved staff service to our schools. And I just want to acknowledge that everyone is welcome to contact us with questions by email or phone, whether or not you ever seek accreditation from COMTA. We want to be in communication with you, and we would love to be a partner in helping all massage schools reach agreed upon standards. Thank you.
So one of the things I'd like to do is open up the floor for some questions, and I know that that would be a nice opportunity for some of you to have those addressed. We do have open mics here, and Ralph can also help us where Ralph is at the moment. So the other thing is we need to get a picture, because I am the man in the middle. And we're going to step up to the front of the stage and let them take a picture of us, okay? No, not right now. So there's a variety of questions from the floor.
Hi. So first I want to say thank you, Kate, because I was happy to say I was one of the COMTA members who petitioned DOE for accreditation, and it's really awesome to see it's taking off. But what's more awesome for me is that you're actually seeing the bigger picture, because coming from a school that has like NACIS accreditation, which is fabulous because we have different programs, the cultures of the different programs are quite different from the South. So it's really nice to see that you've opened that dialogue up and are actually making headway, because that shows that we're trying to move with the trends. Thank you. My real question is, and I hope I don't sound really stupid, but I am so confused about NCB certification and other tests. Netflix. I can't be the only one, because I'm trying to explain things to even students, and and I think it's awesome that these states are recognizing. Now we have 2 certifications that are being recognized, and I'm thinking, I don't know what it is, and I just want unity, so help.
Well,
I'll go first.
okay. Basically, with regard to licensure examinations, yes, there are 2 that are 2 organizations putting on a licensure examination right now. The National Institute Education Board has a licensure, actually has two licensure examinations. One is the NCETM, the other is the NCETMB. Those are both licensure examinations. The credential that you receive when you take that test is a license. Therefore, it's a licensure test. It is given by the National Certification Board, okay? And that can sometimes be a bit confusing, but those are licensure examinations. Many years ago, when you took the NCETM or the NCETMB, you also would become a nationally certified massage therapist. And over the years, as the NLEX came on as a competitive licensure tool, that it became very clear to us that national certification as a certification had lost some value there. Okay, what is the value of the certification process? What is the value of being nationally certified? So, in light of that, the National Certification Board took a big, hard jump off the cliff this year, which is why everything has changed. And said, we are sunsetting that national certification program. National certification is a credential that is now being held by those who hold it. But it will sunset, it will be done, it will go away. It's over. The national certification credential will fall away, and what it will be replaced with, and is currently being replaced with, because we have about 650 board-certified massage therapists, is board certification. So board certification is a different credential. There's a licensure credential, and then there's a board certification credential. And so that is our new baby. It's a new baby, it's on the market, and we're hoping to grow it, and we're looking for everyone's support, and really working with people to help them to understand what would the value be if I become a board certified massage therapist. And that is very different and very individual for every single person. It really is. Because it does reflect back on how long you've been in practice, what kind of practice you do, and lots of different aspects of things. So basically, with regard to testing, the National Certification Board has 3 examinations on the market. 2 of them are licensure as the credential, NCETM and NCETMB. And we have a board certification credential, which is a higher examination, it's an examination, and a higher level of criteria that individuals can meet after they have become licensed practitioners. And then,
The NCLEX is quite different because it is not a certification exam at all. It's strictly created as an entry-level licensing exam. If your state is a member of the federation, the states own the NCLEX, and the states are given the board of directors of the federation tasks. So the states actually own the NCLEX and drive the exam. So it cannot be used, it will not be used. It's not created or designed to be a certification exam. It's strictly an entry-level licensing exam.
Another question? Ralph?
Ralph gave me the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, there we go. Lauren, there we go.
I have sort of 2 questions. The first is for Karen about, can you just say more about what it means that FSMTB will regulate CE? I imagine that it just, because you had quite a compressed amount of time that you couldn't go into it, so I would love if you went into it. And then, am I correct in understanding that nobody's really in charge of CE, like real soon? And who, it's my understanding that NCTMB is sort of trying to step away from that, and is that true, or is that process going to be the same? So,
So the Federation does not regulate continuing education or CE hours or credits in any way, shape, or form. Our license renewal program has the 2 parts, the ethics and professional practice, and then we are creating standards that our member boards can use if the state still chooses to honor CEs for license renewal. But we must remember to go back, licensing is about protecting the public. It's not about advanced skills or continuing education. It's about core competence So we are not regulating, creating, overseeing continuing education. We're working on a license renewal project, which is very, very different. Does that help, everyone?
That's great, that's what I thought.
And that is, and that program can and is going to develop without affecting the fact that NCBTNB absolutely is 100% devoted to continuing education for professional development. We've made a few changes to the APCE program, but we are in no way stepping back from doing that. We are stepping up into making sure that there are not only approved providers and continuing education providers for classes at a licensure level, for professional development, but also for the board certification, which will have a recertification process. And so that's why our APCE program has really been under a lot of revision, because we need to have classes out there that qualify in the category of continuing education for board certified massage therapists. So both men.
The Federation, I just want to make sure it's clear, the Federation supports continuing education, but not the license renewal. So let's make sure that's clear.
Did that help you, Lawrence? And Ralph, did you pass the mic to someone else now?
Yeah, on a different tack, and I'm not a shield, but I figured I'd ask this question anyways. Ruth, by any chance, does the foundation over in the next room at their booth have envelopes where people can sign up to make a recurring monthly donation? Just a small amount that they wouldn't even notice was gone from their account. Is that something that might be possibly over at the booth?
Gee, what a thought. I believe we do. We do have donation envelopes over there at our table in the next room. And I'd also like to just put out there that I've done a little bit of math, and if every person in this country who called themselves a massage therapist donated the value of one massage per year, we would be granting out over $10 million a year. That's an easy message to share. So, if you haven't been a donor, we'd love for you to become a donor. One massage a year, whatever that looks like for you, would be a great place to start. You will certainly take less, and even happily take more. Thanks, Bob, and thank you, Bob.
Great question, Bob. Whitney Love.
Yeah, my question is for Karen. I was a little bit confused trying to understand where the status is of the licensure renewal program is that you were all working on. Did I understand correctly that the ethics requirement part of that license renewal program is something that will only be administered by the Ethics MTB, that will be the only place for people to get that renewal?
That's correct. We're creating online modules that'll be available for therapists throughout the country.
Do you have a follow-on question?
Yeah, but I think it's best left for somebody else.
Okay, so I just want to open up the dialogue that, yes, Karen will be available at her booth, and you all can have that dialogue. I think Laura Allen is up front, the notorious blogger. Can you bring the mic to the notorious blogger, please?
So I want to ask Karen also when, number one, I will make just a comment before I ask her. This is something that in almost all states is going to require a legislative change. It's not like you can just jump in there and suddenly start doing it. Is that correct? And so the question there is, to follow what Whitney said, if the only ethics education is going to be what the Federation has up on their website, then how do you feel about what that does to people like me and the other folks sitting here who teach professional ethics? And is everyone going to be reduced to giving up that classroom interaction there with their ethics in favor of something that's only online?
At this point, as far as our again, we're just creating modules, and there's a lot more, I feel, that to teach about ethics than these 6-hour, or they're going to be 2 or 3 hour modules. So I do believe, Laura, that there's other parts of ethics that can be taught that won't necessarily be included in these modules that we'll be offering. Now, we have talked about doing them online. We talked about, it's nothing that we're doing at this point, bringing them to conferences as well. So we've had comments from therapists that don't have access to online, maybe in a rural area or something. So we're hoping that there's other options in the future as well.
Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to add maybe, because this is a part of the presentation for tomorrow for the NCBTMB, but it's about this topic, and this topic is on the table, and everybody's listening. So I wanted to let you know that with the board certification credential, the recertification of a board certification credential, that requires continuing education. It'd be 24 hours of continuing education over a 2-year period of time. We had originally put out that the requirements for that is 24 hours would include 3 hours of research, and that it had some limitations around 1 and 2 hour period of time classes. We are revising that as a board of directors to say that there will be 3 hours of research, and based on feedback from the profession, we will have a required 3 hours of ethics. So we are going to have 3 hours of required ethics as a recertification for board certification, and simply because it's about the same subject matter. I've hopped on the back of your answer to your question to put that out so everyone could hear that, because it does have to do with opportunities for ethics teaching within the profession for continuing education.
Mr. Lauderstein.
I'm just not clear. I don't teach ethics, so I have no particular stake in this, but it sounds like there's a sense in which the Federation is kind of taking ownership of a certain curriculum segment, albeit, I understand that one can teach ethics for longer than 3 hours, but it's unusual that any organization would kind of monopolize that thing. It's not exactly restraint of trade, but I have mixed feelings in hearing about this. It was the first time I really kind of heard that announcement. So, just want to say that.
Karen, would you like to share or follow
Again, as I mentioned earlier, we're tasked by our delegates. Our delegates, who are our member boards, have asked us for this program. And really, we're not doing our members justice if we don't follow what they've asked us to do.
So can I rephrase that and say that your member boards have asked you to create some modules and you are helping to create those modules, and there may be some opportunity for CE providers to also provide those modules? Okay. Let me get clear on that.
I guess, Pete, I would like to add, I'm sorry, but when our delegates first asked for help, they actually asked for a continuing education program to be overseen and operated by the Federation. And after a task force meeting and the proposal and talking to our delegates, our member boards, and doing the research, this is what came out of that. So it wasn't something that we did on our own. I say we, that the Federation did on our own. This was driven by our delegates and asked for by our delegates.
Thank you.
And Laura is correct that the state would have to accept this. This is a tool offered to state for license renewal. The Federation doesn't mandate any of our policies or any of our programs. These are tools offered to our member boards. They can choose to use them. NLEX is a perfect example. Before that was created, the states had a choice, or excuse me, once it was created, the states had a choice to use NLEX or not.
But you might have just answered what I was about to ask. But, so what I'm thinking, I understand, is that you're going to be taking this to each state, legislatively the same, for renewal of your license in, say, South Carolina, which we require what you're suggesting as well, 12 CEs every 2 years, that instead of allowing them to go to an NCBTMB approved provider and have freedom in whatever they take, we want them all to take the 6 hours, 3 of which is ethics only online through you, and the other 3 would be a 3-hour class, again, I think, online through you, or a community service project or something else that the Federation approves. But it basically all goes through, if the state agrees and adopts it, it all goes through the FSMTV.
The Federation isn't approving any of the professional development activities. We're creating standards, which the states can use as a tool to approve if they choose to.
But you're creating standards, but you're also going to be the conduit, the avenue to which all the therapists in the state of South Carolina, for instance, if South Carolina adopts it, would have to get their CEs for renewal through...
Not CEs, only for the ethics and professional practice. That's what we're developing. The other part is the professional development standards. Those are a set of standards. So your state may choose to adopt the standards to determine what those professional development activities are.
Okay, so only 3 CEs every renewal.
We're recommending 6 for license renewal, a minimum of 3 in ethics and professional practice. The other 3 could be also ethics and professional practice or professional development activities.
So I still hear you saying the state approves it, it would go through you.
The ethics and professional practice only.
A lot of questions coming up, and what I'm going to say is we're going to have about a half-hour break, and then we're going to have our breakout. So I'm really glad that we're having this discussion. I think you're speaking about this in a very professional way and in a very calm way. And so I hope that all of us can continue that once we're done. Mr. Zeus.
I'm a little concerned that you brought that up right when I got the mic. I feel like we've done a fabulously good job of sort of starting to scratch at the things that we can get very divided about here. And I also feel like we have, on the other side of that, we've had Ann and Winona talking about how they're so excited to be working together and have that opportunity. And so I'm really curious to hear, first of all, when's the next group meeting for the 7 organizations?
That is a great question. Ruth, do you have the answer to that?
I have the beginning of one. We are, as you may know, I hope everybody in here knows that the ELAC project is currently open for feedback. And I hope everybody chooses the section that means most to them to focus on. Don't try to do the whole 700 pages. It will make you crazy. But in answer to your question, a decision about our next meeting will be based a bit on the tenor and the complexity of the feedback that we get, because that will be the main topic of our next coalition meeting. My guess is sometime this fall.
Okay, part 2 would be then, would there be some consideration by these organizations about seeing if we could come together not in disagreement, but about a common enemy that the massage profession as a whole could potentially rally around and start working towards? I think there's so much opportunity. We've talked about the Affordable Care Act. There's so much opportunity for us to get organized, and I think if we could pick some simple messages, like the massage community against stress, or the massage community against chronic pain, or the massage community out there to get more people to get massage as a whole, and then each of the organizations were to work together and think about what's our part in that quest. I would just be curious to see if you guys could talk or think about, you don't have to talk about it, that might be a long talk, but you might want to think about at your next meeting, who's our foe and who can rally? Because this group, I feel, has the potential to rally if there was a rallying cry that appealed to everyone. So I would ask you.
I'm getting charged up.
So I would ask you guys, when you get together, to please think about where do you want us to rally?
Yeah.
And then make a solid call, please. And I think we'll come through for you.
So I'm going to let Winona speak.
So, thank you for that. And the tool that, we just have is not done in a vacuum. Just so y'all know, this is not going to be done in a vacuum. So, they're absolutely inclusive.
So I want to just take maybe one or two last questions. Feeling pretty pertinent. I know Ben has been raising his hand for quite a bit, and there's our Cynthia. Let's do two, okay? And then we've got to take a break and see the vendors and then go to class.
So we've been talking about working together and as organizations, sharing the market and allowing everybody to succeed instead of providing something only to our own organizations. The hard time that I believe we're all having in this room, and I don't like to speak for everybody, but the hard time I am having, so I'm trying to remember how to communicate it to the 3.5 But what is hard to swallow and to let your heart open is that we are having an organization that is trying to own how continuing education is being provided, even for entry level. And we have many experts that can do that and work with FSMTD and provide the same level of education that your delegates and each state wants. So why not being open for the participation of all so that all can benefit? Because I believe we all deserve that as a profession.
So I think that's a good feedback piece that Karen can take back to her board.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is I certainly hear you, and I will happy to take this back to the board of the rest of the board of directors. Thank you.
So, two things. I want to say that I've been in this profession a long time, and seeing you women up there, and you two people, having the organization work together is a kind of a dream of we never actually thought would happen. So, but I kind of agree with this controversial thing that's been happening here, and I'd just like to make sure I understand, just to paraphrase what I understand so far. What I understand is that the state could require a therapist to take your 3 CEs in ethics, or they could require some ethics by anybody, including you. Is that correct?
That's correct. The Federation would not.
The state would mandate, not you.
That is
It's just
correct.
a thing.
The Federation doesn't mandate anything. The state is in charge. The state could not. Does that help?
Yeah. And how would that know? Tell them to open it up.
All right. So what I would love is if the 7 of us could get a picture. I think that would be a great thing. I also love this picture, Ruth, up at the top, where all the logos are all at the top.